What's going on, guys? My name is Vince and welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be discussing the super buying process. So definitely a different format than what you guys are used to. So usually I'm outside with my car or someone else's car recording the mods and other things that they've done. But if you're watching this, then you are trying to be at that level with your own Supra to enjoy it. So I do just want to preface this entire video that it is all ultimately just my opinion. You guys can go about the process however you like, but with me just being in the scene, of course, I've kind of seen different scenarios and talked to a lot of different owners how they've gotten to buy their Supra. So I just want to walk you guys through that. There's a couple of questions that you guys need to ask yourselves before looking for Supras at the end of the day. If you're like really serious about buying it, ask yourself first, why are you buying the car? Are you going to be enjoying it during the weekend? Or are you going to be driving it a lot, like your daily, like what I'm currently doing? That is ultimately going to determine how you're going to go about the searching process. The second question is, what exactly do you want the car to do? That's the first question that I ask everybody who leaves a comment or DMs me. What do you want the car to do? Do you want it to be a canyon carver to where it just rips up on the curves or around your local autocross event or local track, whatever? Or do you want it to be a fast straight line car? You just gotta ask yourself, like, why? Why did you want to get the Supra and what do you want it to do? And then lastly, of course, this is going to determine exactly which car that you get is what is your budget? Do you have a big budget to where you're just like, okay, whatever happens to this car, I can buy it all over again? Or are you just wanting that best bang for buck? What I'm going to actually be doing on this video as well is I'm by my computer and I'll actually talk you guys through kind of as I see, Supras on the internet. So I'm not sponsored by this website by any means. I'm going to be using Auto Tempest because they just make it so easy to look for different cars. They scour the listings they have it on their front page, eBay, cars.com, TrueCar, Cars and Bids, Carvana, so on and so forth. So just want to let you guys know. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and go to the computer. Okay, so we are here on Auto Tempest. So let's go ahead and search for the Toyota Supras. So here we have just all of the listings. We'll go ahead and just put 2020 on here. And then what I'm just going to do is obviously put 2.0 owners. That is not relevant to this video, but if you guys are searching for 2.0s, you can filter for that. But anyway, so let's pretend that I just want the car to be a fun daily. So in that case, like I would probably want to mod it. My budget's going to be a little bit tighter because, you know, the insurance for this car might not be the cheapest, plus the fuel economy. It is pretty good, but it does use premium fuel, and tires are pretty expensive on it, so you're a little bit more budget oriented. So what I'm seeing here right now is a 2021 and a 2020. So first things first is the 2020. All of them, they are 2-port B58s. So that means on the exhaust side, there are 2 ports, exhaust ports for the exhaust gases to exit through. And on the 2021s, they are 6 ports. So that means they have 6 ports for the exhaust gases to go through. If you are looking for a 6 port, you have to be careful because a lot of them, and especially if you're going to mod it, like put just a downpipe and put an E50 tune on it, which is what I would recommend if you just want simple mods for a, daily driver. The 2020s, their ECUs are unlockable. You don't have to send them out or whatever. If you are familiar with anything about modding a Supra, If you're not, check out my other videos. I discuss them in great depth. You can just contact a tuner, choose a tuning platform that you want to use, such as EcuTech, BM3, MHD Plus, whatever it is. You don't have to send out your ECU because it can just be unlocked with a dongle, a device that you plug into the OBD2 port of the car, and then you just contact your tuner, plug it in to your laptop or connect it to your phone, and then you just unlock the ECU through there. That is different than majority of the 2021s, the 6 ports, because unless you are very lucky and you got an ECU manufacturer date that is before June 2020, then you don't have to send out your ECU to get unlocked. Because if it's any June 1st, 2020 until onwards, you unfortunately have to get your ECU unlocked by femto, which is just another cost. So that is majority of the time that I've seen as of the making of this video, is that it's going to be another 2 grand, 2,500, depending on the tuning platform that you're using, to basically get your car moddable, be able to add tunes to it as you mod the car. You need to do that and send out your ECU to femto. So there's a couple of ways that you can do that. I'm not going to discuss it in this video. So if you're wondering how to tune this car depending on the year and the ECU date, I have another video about that. But in my case, let's pretend I'm going to choose a 2020. So here you can see like this is a rebuild title. Let's go ahead and choose just whichever one that's a 2020 because I am going to want to mod it. And not have to spend money to send my ECU to femto. So I like red. It's not rebuilt. It's a little bit higher miles. So let's go ahead and click this. It's on TrueCar. And so what I'm going to be thinking about first is the mileage. So this is pretty high miles. Like for reference, I drive my car a lot and I have like 75,000 miles. So whoever owned this, they've definitely enjoyed it and driven it. First thing I'm going to suggest is always just get a third party PPI to be done on the car. So if you're not familiar with what that is, so you get a third party mechanic, a professional, someone I would suggest for BMWs because at the end of the day, haha, it's a BMW, let's be realistic, or just someone who knows performance cars for them to, you know, whichever area that this car is in, just call around the area, do a Google Maps search, and see. And just give them a call. Hey, what's the cost going to be for you to check out this car at this dealership and make sure that it's good? Then they'll usually give you like a report depending on how experienced you are doing something like this. But that's the first thing that I would say for this car because it looks stock, but let's be real here. This person, the previous owner, could have returned this back to stock, and you would never know, unless you really get in there and check underneath the car and just check the diagnostics. So, next thing that I will look at is the vehicle history report. So, it does look like it's a one owner vehicle. They just, definitely enjoyed it, whatever phase it is. Some people have DM'd me saying that they did buy a used Supra that looked stock, but then it's been modified. So what I would suggest is if that mechanic or that professional can read how many times the ECU has been flashed, that's going to be very useful as well. So they'll be able to know if either ECU was flashed due to a recall or an update or because it was a tune. It was previously tuned. 40 grand with this many miles, like, honestly, they probably gave this guy, whoever traded this in, maybe 32 or 33 grand to buy this car. And then if they need to lower the price, they can, haggle or work with whoever the buyer is. But I would say, knowing that, you could probably get them down to maybe 38.5 for this particular vehicle. So, I mean, at least I can feel a little bit better that it's one owner, so it's not just cycling through people and just getting beat up on. Let's be realistic here. Majority of the time, if you buy a secondhand Supra, whoever owned it before you probably enjoyed it. I would just also, make sure that everything looks good. Like, let's say the report comes back from the mechanic, and they say, "Hey, this is all good and stuff." Then that's when you start to decide, okay, hey, I bought this car for 38.5. How much are my payments going to be? Or if you have cash ready, then you just buy it, right? You're just wondering about the finances. I'm not going to discuss like finances in this video because I'm not a finance guru or anything. I'm a guy on the internet making car videos. So if you want to fly out there, talk with the salesman, get your financing ready or whatever, and then just make your preparations to buy the car. So actually, well, this one, it is a 2021. I forgot about that. But you'd want to ask and see if whoever the salesperson is, they can check the ECU data if you're wanting to mod this car, because more likely than not, this particular car has a locked ECU, so you can only run a JB4 on it, which is not a tune. It basically just kind of remaps the boost, and it doesn't really like change the entire tuning table. But it's going to be an additional like 2 grand, $2,500 to be able to actually get this car tuned to run pretty well on a downpipe E50 tune. So now let's go back and let's look at another one. Let's pretend that I am the guy that wants to track the car. So take it on like the twisties or whatever. In that case, I probably don't care much about the power, maybe add a little bit more. But if they're happy with how fast the car actually is, stock power wise, then they'll just leave it as such. And maybe I'll focus more on like suspension. So this one, I'm a little bit less restrictive. Of course, what's my budget, right? Maybe I have 50 grand or something to spend on a secondhand one. For me personally, I'm still trying to find a deal because obviously I am Asian. You just got to get the best deals out there. So I want to get something a little bit lower mileage. So if I'm spending 50 grand on this car, I don't want to get something too expensive. That's too of a high price. Here's one that looks like it's been modified. So whoever probably owned this, they probably enjoyed this car. So you want something, if you're going to beat up on it as a weekend track toy, then let's go with this one. This one's a 2020, so at least if I do decide to add more power down the road, I can, because I can just unlock it myself without sending it to Femto. So this one looks like it's just a duckbill wing on there. This one is 41,000 miles. So at this point, in 2024, this car has been out for 5 years now. So that's not really that much. It's probably just a weekender for whoever owned it. But this one is in Minnesota. So I don't know if I've never really explored Minnesota, to be honest. So I apologize in advance to everyone who lives in Minnesota, but I don't know how much you guys salt the roads up there. This one might have a little bit, you know, potential rust spots. I mean, with the mileage though, it's probably a weekend car, so whoever owned it definitely didn't take it out whenever it was snowing. But I just want to keep that in mind. This one's 47 grand. Maybe they gave the previous owner 40 grand for this, so maybe you can get him down to 46 or 45.5. Maybe if you're lucky, 45 grand, which is pretty good for this $47,000 car. Yeah, at this point, I would try to ask the salesman if they would be allowing you to still do the third party PPI, like what I was mentioning earlier. Yeah, I would at least do that. I mean, car looks pretty good. Like there's an intake on it. Okay, so Let's look at that real quick. I can zoom in. I don't think I can zoom in on this. But anyways, there's an intake on there. I don't know what kind of intake that is. So this car might have had a JB4. If I was to guess, I mean, intakes really don't add any power to this platform. You can honestly run your car to 700 wheel horsepower on a stock intake with a pure 800 or an upgraded stock location turbo. Um, Intake is really just for noise. I mean, some people prefer that. Let's see what else. I mean, I can't really zoom in. Doesn't look like it has anything else other than the intake. So, yeah, maybe I'm going to search for another one, but yeah, I just would keep that in mind. Maybe if you want a 2021, you want a six port. Here's one, 29,000 miles. So, not too bad for 4 years. Looks pretty good, but this is what I would recommend if I was, searching for a weekend car, like a track toy or whatever. Next one, I would say, or the last type of person is going to be, it's a weekend car and it's going to be a drag race car. So, of course, you want something that you can modify performance wise. And let's say your budget is 50 grand as well. Typically, that's what your budget's going to be for a car, because once you start punching up into the top mount range of mods, then it gets pricey. So I'll want to search for a 2020. So this one in Arlington, 44. Oh, sold. I clicked on that because it's actually a pretty good deal. Okay, this one in Florida. So 50-50. Previous owner could have enjoyed this. 2020, so you can unlock this car, which is great. And then pretty much, you're going to start buying your mods. Watch my other videos on how it's easy to make power in this platform, but you'll basically need a built transmission, which is going to run you probably, I mean, if you're aiming for like the 900 wheel horsepower range, which you can do on a stock block. David, one of my buddies, is actually running almost 1,000 wheel on a stock block. I mean, it's his weekend, pretty much straight line fun car. But yeah, transmission's probably going to run about, cheapest is $4,500 all the way up to 6 grand. Turbo kit's probably going to run you about, I mean, with a KLM, just a regular KLM kit, not the Savage kit, 72, 75s. I mean, that'll get you over 900 wheel definitely. That's going to run you about maybe 8 grand with tax and everything, all things considered. You also need to do your fueling. That's probably going to run you about, if you're going to do full fuel system, maybe like 2,500, 3 grand starting, because you'll need to do port injection. You've got to get the injectors. You're going to probably get a manifold, all that stuff. Manifold's going to run you about 5 grand, probably 6 grand. So the costs do pile up. So if you don't mind too much, a 2020 with a ton of miles, like maybe this one in Utah. I mean, looks like they powder coated the stock wheels, 56,000 miles. So, I mean, this car's been enjoyed. It's not a one owner vehicle. I mean, no accidents, which is good. Um, three owners, so you're gonna be the fourth owner on this car. So at some point, like that person, one owner has definitely enjoyed it. Again, I would definitely do a third party PPI for sure, because even though this car is 40 grand, which is a steal because these cars are monsters, um, with very, very light mods, the B58 is not cheap. So You don't want to get stuck with that huge bill to get a replacement or a built one. And, that's going to cut into your mods cost or mods funds, I should say. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, hopefully it helps. I do have other videos where I go in depth about the specific items that you should look for, but hopefully you guys did enjoy that. Let me know with a comment down below, or if you have any questions. I'm always willing to help you guys out. If you guys have any questions about buying your Supra, of course, again, I'm just going to remind you, I'm just a guy on the internet, just doing whatever I can to help out fellow car enthusiasts. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys on the next video.